Radio. Hello, welcome to AstroEnergy with astrologer angel Shelley Overton. Hello and welcome to the January 23rd, 2018 edition of the AstroEnergy Astrology Show. My name is Shelley Overton. I'm an astrologer in Orlando, Florida, and I am happy to be here with you today. We have kind of a nice day. I mean, you know, here and there. We've got overcast skies, and I think it's probably about 70 right now. So we're kind of coming out of a bit of that cold weather, deep freeze for a little bit. We have a few planets in Aquarius today, so that'll be interesting. Actually, I think just a couple, but probably on the way to having more. Let me see, it's 69 degrees, so I was not far off. That was my guesstimate. So anyway, welcome back, and we've got a bunch of stuff. I was scrambling around before the show started to get my glasses, and I ran out of time, so I'm hoping I can read off of my ephemeris and tell you what's going on here. But I also have it on the computer, so it should be okay. Anyway, what we have Moon in Aries today. So Moon is kind of triggering some more issues around aggression, and I wouldn't be surprised if we have, you know, like some fires being stoked around the world with, you know, events going on and emergencies and things like that, especially because Moon is within 7 degrees of Uranus in Aries. And Uranus, the planet that rules Aquarius, is very much about unexpected things. And whenever there's something going on that affects large masses of people, especially something that's dramatic, I would say you could probably find a pretty strong aspect to Uranus in the chart. And today with the moon again being home and family, domesticity, nurturing, it's in Aries. And that means that the moon is, it's a receptive feminine energy, but it's emotional. And in the sign of Aries, Aries wants to act. Aries wants to be impulsive. It doesn't want to take time and think things through. So you already have that general nature, that fire energy with the moon, and couple it with last degrees of Uranus in Uranus in Aries. So we're going to see some emotional explosions. And I would say this is a really good day to see some tantrums. So expect that. The other thing is the moon is at an inconjunct to Jupiter. And so Jupiter, it's approaching an exact right now. It's at 20 degrees. But I did something to my my program last week, and I changed the typefaces. And now I'm totally unsure because on my program, what it does is it alters the numbers based on where it's at in the wheel. Because sometimes, you know, if you have the number of the degree in the same spot, it would look the opposite of what it actually is. So it changes the position. So on the lower half of the chart, certain houses have the degree right next to the planet, and on the top, it changes to the bottom part. So anyway, it gets a little confusing. I really need to adjust that back, but I can't do it right now. So we're just going to fly with it. So Jupiter's at 20 Scorpio, and that means that in 3 degrees, the moon will be at exact inconjunct. And Jupiter in Scorpio means that there's some travel issues, some definite explosive energy going on in the chart right now with Scorpio. Scorpio can be vindictive, but it can also be dramatic. It is ruled by Pluto, which, as if you study astrology, you know that Pluto can be plutonic, which means, you know, very large scale bombs going off. And it can be metaphorical or it can be literal. And Jupiter rules travel and education, learning, understanding, expansion of awareness. And inconjunct is a very difficult energy. It's 150 degrees apart, and it's like difficult and not cooperative. And anyway, so that energy could mean that we're going to see a large scale event today or tomorrow. And it is around the tantrum, the emotional tantrum. So we also have Mars at 28 degrees Scorpio today, which means he is going into a new sign fairly quickly. He enters Sagittarius on Friday at 7:56 a.m. Eastern and 4:56 a.m. Pacific. So he's wrapping up some energy in Scorpio. He's been there for, I believe, a little over a month. I'm going to go back to my 2017 ephemeris so I can nail down just how long he's been in there. Yeah, he was in Scorpio on December 10th. So he has been in there just over a month. And that means that he takes action. He's the masculine energy of the zodiac. He's the drive. He's the force. And he is impulsive. In Scorpio, he is vindictive, but he can also give us a drive to get our understanding out into the world. And so, given the cooperation, he is bringing out positive awareness around things that have been hidden, and that can be in politics, it can be sexual, having the understanding that Mars is going into Sagittarius. It is likely that there is going to be something coming up again around more sexual, another round of sexual accusations. It wouldn't surprise me. But we also have what just happened with all the kids who, I don't know if you heard, they had, there was a house, gosh, where was it? I don't even know. But anyway, they had 13 kids that they were basically keeping prisoner and chaining them up. So that is like taking the action on behalf of everyone. That is a Uranian thing, but also the ugly underbelly can be very scorpionic. So that kind of energy is getting triggered today with this Jupiter in conjunct to the moon and Uranus. So I don't like to talk about this per se, but, Scorpio does tend to look under rocks a lot. And let's be honest, their dramatic events are probably more interesting overall, which is why they put them on the news all the time. So anyway, look for those kind of news stories. But in your personal life, what does that mean? That means that you're going to be having some conflict coming up around tantrums and around the shift from a masculine energy into becoming more aware, which you have to take into account the position of the planets being interacted and how that tells a story as well. So the moon, again, is mom, and mom may be acting erratically or mom may be acting aggressively. She may be feeling like she never gets a break, or she wants to go do something, and maybe there's some conflict with others who don't, or husband. And then Uranus is in Aries. And of course, we've been going through this whole shift, and, we've had the whole bully scenario coming up. And I'm talking kind of more news in general because I'm not talking to individuals. So obviously I can't say specifically what's going on in your world, but I can tell you how it acts individually. And that would be, we feel like we need to express something just ourselves, autonomously. In other words, break free of how we've been engaged with other people in a way we don't like. And because it's a sign of Aries, it is in the realm of emergency workers, salespeople, masculine endeavors. I mean, we just had the Super Bowl playoffs this past weekend, so there was a really strong energy. I mean, yesterday, Moon went into Aries, so I didn't watch it, but there may have both different, I think they were both yesterday. I didn't watch either one, but we may have had more aggressive behavior if it took place during Moon in Aries. If it started during Moon in Pisces, which we also had yesterday, let's just take a look back real quick and see when it went in. So the moon entered Aries late at night on Sunday. So it was in Pisces. So that meant that there were more idealistic ways of behaving, or they weren't necessarily as aggressive. Like, I'm not kidding you. If it had been played on a Monday, it would have been a much more aggressive game. And I know that the Viking game was kind of a blowout. So obviously, the team they played, I think it was the Eagles, they were more aggressive, and they felt the energy in a different way. So I guess I'm going to touch on this quickly because, people may be saying, who are new to this, well, how can one team act differently under the same aspect? And that is, you have different managers. The start time may interplay with the members differently in their charts, and it really is it's a global energy, meaning, yes, we're all affected, but it's also a personal energy. And then there's the time of the beginning of the event, per se, so that whatever time the event starts, if the moon is in one sign and then it shifts during the game, you could start the game out being really amazing for one team, and then when the moon shifts, the other team could play differently, and it will affect how we look at things. Not only that, but at the same time, not only is the moon potentially shifting signs because it's such a quick moving energy in our sky, but we also have the rotating chart. So when a game starts at a certain time, as time goes on, the sun moves, the earth turns, and the planets affect us differently. So as that game progresses, we have a different energy on the horizon, or different planets may have come up into our world and giving more direct influence on those particular games. So it's definitely one of my areas of interest to get games or look at specifically the Kentucky Derby, because it's really neat to see how the energy of the start time plays in the charts of the horses. And you can look up the day of birth. I'm pretty sure, I know I've done this in the past, but the Kentucky Derby website will give you some leads on the names and the age of each of the horses, and then you can go do a little more research and find the time that they were born or the day, and then you can just do sunrise charts for all the horses, which kind of put them, pardon the pun, on an even playing field. But that's what I like to do with the horses, and I kind of just do it for my own interest when I remember. I haven't done it in the last couple of years because that date always seems to sneak up on me. But anyway, it's the first Saturday of May, so if you're interested in looking it up, you can go do your groundwork in April and figure out what you think will be a good win. Anyway, so we've got this energy really strong in the sky right now, and fire and water. So of course, Jupiter and Mars likes to put out their water signs. They like to put out fire, which Moon and Uranus are. The Moon is also a water energy in a fire sign, so it creates steam. And that conjunction with Uranus is an air energy. It's the ruler of Aquarius, which is an air sign. So it is about electricity and thought. And definitely we have the potential for some power outages. And especially now that we have Sun and Venus in Aquarius and the South Node in Aquarius, that's electrical energy. So it wouldn't surprise me at all if we have some power outages, because underscoring all of that energy, we have Mercury coming up within 2 degrees of Pluto. So Pluto is major change, rules that Scorpio energy, is in sextile to Jupiter today. And Mercury rules electronics. It rules the actual physical, tangible equipment that goes along with the transmission of electricity. Capricorn, the sign of Capricorn does. And so Mercury is mercurial. It is. So it comes up on Pluto. Pluto wants to have power and a big bang, a big dramatic event. So Mercury will combine energy with Pluto. And I would say personally, that means back up your computers. I've got a date, what is it? 27th, we have Mercury in Capricorn squaring Uranus, which is the last aspect in the chart today that underscores how potent this energy is this week. So we've got, I guess the major energies going on is the conjunction of Mercury to Pluto, Mars going into a new sign on Friday, an inconjunct between Jupiter and Uranus with the moon joining in, and then the square between Mercury, Pluto, and the moon joining up with Uranus. So yes, Uranus is passed by about 5 degrees past Pluto squaring, but the moon is actually taking some energy from Neptune, which he was at about 2 to 3 days ago. He was on Neptune, and now he's infusing it into Uranus, which is a heightened mercurial energy. So we're seeing this emotional quality brought from Neptune and expressed out through Uranus. So as an archetype going through the zodiac, you see this laid back energy of Neptune, this energy that is more in alignment with oceans, more in alignment with sensitivity and psychic ability and the arts and creativity, and also understanding the progress of our world through what we encounter in the zodiac, through our interactions with the archetypes that represent other planets and other signs. So that means that Venus in Aquarius would represent a woman who is not so soft and cuddly, but much more intellectual and independent and in her own power, which comes right along with the energy of the Women's March this past weekend. So you see that expressing out in the chart, and having the moon, which is a quicker body moving through the heavens, moving through the energy of Neptune and emotion and endings and sentimentality, people from the past coming through that and coming back into awareness of energy in a masculine sense, and then approaching Uranus, which is electrical. So you have power, you have sensitivity, but now it's expression of that sensitivity, and it's through fire, air energy. So it's fanning the flames using emotion and having that connection to mom and home. So we've got this really strong energy around self, which Aries is, and it's in conflict to Jupiter and Scorpio, and also its own ruler Mars. And so there's this friction going on that wants to express out. And in our personal lives, it's tantrums with that energy. And then Sun now is in Aquarius for the last couple days. Sun, let's see here. Sun went in, I want to say Sunday, but let me see. Nope, it went in on Friday of last week. And we're at 3 degrees today. So he's gone just over 3 days, 3 degrees. So it is about a degree a day. And he is right there next to Venus. Of course, Venus was right next to him, conjunct on, what day were they conjunct? I think it was last week. And of course, I have no glasses, so I'm trying to read this today. Anyway, I don't find it in my planner real quick. Let me see if I can see what day they were conjunct up on the computer screen here. And those of you who follow it are probably going, it was Tuesday of last week or something. Anyway, I think they were conjunct in Capricorn. Yeah, they were conjunct between the 2nd and 3rd of January. So they were talking in Capricorn, and then, of course, they are both now in Aquarius, but they're not talking to each other. So that could also mean that we wrapped up an end story around a woman or a friendship, and now we are starting to break apart because the Sun and Venus are in Aquarius, but Venus is flying out ahead of the Sun. And so now she's off to find new friends. So you may be attracting new friends in your life. That's how that would play out. Anyway, let me just look at a couple other things that are going on. So Mars into Sagittarius this week. That's going to also bring education out. So I expect that we'll be seeing stories about education systems, or the, what is that? The national education, I can't remember it. My brain is going numb right now. But the educational organization that overrules. How come I can't think right now? Oh my goodness! At least I'm not falling off of my hassock. I was actually taking a video last week of me rocking on this hassock for my glider rocker and falling off. And I sent it to my daughter, and she said she was in class. She couldn't even take it. She cracked up so hard she almost lost it. Anyway, she posted it on her Instagram, so now it's everywhere for the world to see, I suppose. But we have a lunar eclipse coming next week. We'll talk more about that next week because that is in Leo. So lots of egos flying around for that one. But anyway, it doesn't look like anything sticks out strongly to me. An inconjunctive moon to Mars on Sunday might be something more significant also around children, definitely children and teaching and education, but conflict more on the home front. So what time do we have? 11:20. You know what? I'm going to go to a break, and then we can take lots of calls today because even though there are some aspects that may be difficult going on, there aren't a lot of them. All the planets that I look at are in one half of the zodiac right now. I'm looking at this chart wheel, and as Moon and Uranus come up over the horizon here in Orlando, it puts every planet in light in the descendant half of the chart, so up in the sky, and it's all here, and nothing is going on as much in the personal area of the chart as much as the global universal part, meaning we're having more world events going on today, but we'll see what goes on in everyone else's personal lives here. Let me take a real quick break, and then we'll come back and get to the callers.
Jupiter conspire to get me. I think you and the moon and Neptune got it right. I think you and the moon and Neptune got it right. 'Cause now I'm shining bright.
Okay, welcome back. You are listening to the AstroEnergy Astrology Show with me. I'm Shelley Overton, and I'm an astrologer in Orlando, Florida. If you are interested in getting a private reading with me, you can get me at astrologerangel.com. And yeah, so welcome back, and let's take a call. Hi, is this Julia?
Yes, it is. Hi.
Hi, how are you? What can I do for you today?
Doing well. Wow, I can't believe you knew it was me by my number.
Yeah, I'm amazing,
That's
right?
cool.
I'm teasing completely.
Wow.
What's up?
I have a couple things in mind. Relocating still on the table for me, and I was wondering, about meeting that special someone, having that love connection in my life again.
Okay. So you're saying you are relocating or you have to relocate?
I want to relocate.
You want to?
I'm thinking I'll probably stay in the state, maybe up in the Panhandle area, but it's like I'm so wishy-washy. I can't just make a decision, commit to it, and do it. It's like I get in my head thinking. Then I go into fear about, oh my gosh, what if it doesn't work out?
Well, then you would just move somewhere else probably, right? I do that too. I totally understand what you're talking about, because it's like we work ourselves into inertia. And part of that is Neptune/Pisces energy in your house of home and family. So what's going on there is really interesting to me, because you have the entrance part of home and family is the very last degree of Aquarius. So that puts your 3-degree Chiron in Pisces right there on the inside of home and family. And so that is where we have our deepest wounding, where were we hurt the most in our lives. And so being that it's Pisces is very sensitive, it's sentimental, it's emotional, it's protective, and you want to protect yourself. Then we've had Neptune going through that house. So, I want to say 2009-ish, I think, we had Neptune going into Pisces. I'm looking it up as I'm talking to you so I can tell you. And so that kind of triggered that energy, but it also was a healing kind of energy. I actually have Neptune right on top of my Chiron right now. It's within 4 degrees of my own Chiron. And what I'm finding is that there's more cooperative energy. It's almost like a healing going on. It's like a universal healing of that energy. And not everybody gets that, because when we have Chiron goes at a different pace than Neptune, and Neptune is a very slow-moving planet, so it doesn't go over everybody's Chiron in their charts in their lifetime. So having that is a really amazing energy in my view. And so what happens is, as Neptune goes over that, it starts to really give you kind of a spiritual healing. It's actually 2011, 2012 is when that, but mostly 2012. So for about 5 years, you've been dealing with this energy. And today in the sky, you have Chiron at the last degree of your house of home and family. It's at 25 degrees. So it's right there getting ready to move out of your home and family house into another area. And so what that tells me is there was a story around that wounding where you lived. And, generally, like, I look at this chart and see Pisces, and I'd say you have the potential to not easily give up where you live because you're very sentimental and emotionally connected to it. Pisces energy is the energy of a hoarder. And I'm not saying you're a hoarder, but what the hoarder mentality is that we assign emotions to different items, and we don't want to give them up because now we have assigned that emotion to a meaning on that physical energy. And so you tend to not want to move. You've got so many memories and so many emotions. What positive thing is in your chart is the Chiron basically having been in a Chiron return, meaning it triggered that wounding, and then now it's moving on, and it has gone through the gradient of all those emotions of your home life and your family life, and it's leaving, and it wants to go and do something new. It wants to create a new energy. And so that's probably that energy right there between should I stay or should I go is a large part of the energy already in your house of home and family. Mars now is also in positive aspect to Chiron. It's trining your Chiron. And of course, Mars wants to get it going. And so I understand that kind of back and forth. Your natal Neptune is in your 12th house, which kind of adds one more level of layer to those feelings of holding up and being sensitive. But Jupiter, having gone over your Neptune recently, really wants you to now think about yourself in a more individualized way and not so much engaged with others or even events that you've been through. It wants you to come into your own, so to speak. And so that's a really good, powerful energy for that move for you, okay? The other powerful energy is Mars moving into Sagittarius and joining up with your moon, which is going to help you take that action. And it is farther away. So Sagittarius, Mars on your Sag moon means going farther away, long distance. And because the moon rules that 4th house of home and family, that's going to be the impetus you need to kind of kick you emotionally out of the house, so to speak. And does that make sense at all? I mean, does that sync up with
actually,
what you're feeling?
Yeah, yeah. It's funny because you were, with it being the house of home and family, after my divorce, I have moved in with my mother temporarily, and there was some healing to do here. So I think that you're right on point that, it's a healing of our relationship because, over the years, it's kind of in and out, more or less. So, that's exactly on point. Is there like a best timing for it? I was,
A best timing. Well, there are multiple timings. So, kind of asking a best timing would be something I would do privately, only because, there'd be so many possibilities because, the transiting planets will trigger different things for you. But as an eyeball, I can give you Saturn aligning with your natal Saturn. I'm guessing you're not selling a house. In your circumstances, is that true? There's no house sale?
Right. No,
okay.
Just rental.
Okay, good. I think that part of I want to look at this Capricorn energy right now, too, because part of the issue with staying put is the stability of where you're at and all that Saturn in Capricorn, Mercury in Capricorn, Pluto in Capricorn, and you have a natal Capricorn, Saturn, and Jupiter. So what it is you are getting triggered to make a shift and change. That's what Pluto's doing on your natal Saturn. So I think that because Pluto only goes a couple degrees a year, this isn't necessarily a complete process, even if you moved. It's like a transitionary process. Does that make sense? So, and I hate that saying. I'm sorry I keep saying it, but I guess when I say does that make sense, it's more does that align with what you're feeling? So Saturn return is really going to make a big shift for you, and it is a career energy, a career move. Pluto's right on your Saturn right now, so there is like a culmination of one way of looking at your career or looking at money and the structure of your life. And definitely, let me see, 25 degrees. Let's find out for you when Pluto gets to 25, because then Pluto actually moves out of your house of money. And it's a pretty big shift, and it doesn't surprise me that that happens in 2021. So, yeah, January, February of 2021 is going to be a really big shift around that. So if you haven't retired by then, I would see that's a potential for you in that time frame. But moving, Jupiter is squaring your house of home and family right now. So I would say, and then he comes back to 13, so he's going to square it again. And honestly, looking at your chart, I know you're probably chomping at the bit, but timing-wise, I would say looking at it, you're probably better staying put if you can for right now. Yeah, I don't think things will turn out the way you think that the way you want them to, because you have a late degree Mars in your first house, which again is the culmination of an energy. It hasn't moved into the new energy yet, which means that there's kind of an emotional looking back and wrapping up of the old energy. And even when Mars, and I should qualify this, I'm reading your chart as if it were an horary chart, which means when you ask the question, that becomes the moment of time for the answer in a chart. And so what's transiting your chart now becomes the photograph of my answer, so to speak. I don't know if that is coherent, but
that's really cool, actually.
it is. So so that I love horary charts, because like if you want to say, oh, I have a question, I want to know, is this a good time to do something? You look at a chart for the moment that the astrologer understands the question, and then those aspects basically can tell you how it will turn out. And yes, I think there is a change coming, but because Mars is at late degrees Scorpio, it's like the ending hasn't completely finished yet, so to speak, and that the shift and change isn't going to necessarily respond the way you want it to. So, and then on top of it, there are a lot of different energies going on in your chart that are telling me, one is that Saturn just went into Capricorn, so it's looking for you to do something solid around money and shore up your money. If you move now, you could have a wonderful thing happen, but I am thinking it's more about an emotional desire to go, and not all your ducks are in a row just yet, but I think they will be. As far as a time in the future, let me just look here. When Mars gets to the second house, there will be more monetary cooperation, and that will be coming in for you. Let's see. I'll tell you the date for that. It is late February, actually even later than that. The first week of March is when that happens. And then right after that, he goes into Capricorn, which is more stable. So if you're looking, you said something about career, I believe. If you're looking for a more stable career move, it's going to be mid-March. And then also the sun will be in Aries. And at that point, you're probably really going to want to make that shift. And that's also the timeline, kind of mid-April is going to be good for getting a new job. If you're looking to get a job that will support the move, that would be the time to do that. So I'm saying if you're looking for a better time, I'm not saying it's the best, but it's more in alignment with what you want to do. Springtime would be good.
Okay.
Into mid-April. Yeah.
Well, something you said that Chiron was moving on, that it was creating new. What is the house that it's moving into?
It's moving into creativity and romance and children.
Oh, let me just see, so that answers the love that I asked about.
Yeah, it's going fairly fast too. It'll be up. Let me see. Does it get out of that house? Yeah, it gets into career at 24 degrees, so it's a little ways, and it retrogrades. So gets back into Pisces 27. Yeah, it's going to be hovering right around the beginning area of your career chart for most of this year, which is late degrees Aries, early degree Pisces. So, yeah, so really you're kind of wrapping up. Let me see. Did I say? Yeah. I can't believe it. I don't know why. I'm having a tough time today. Well, you think Mercury is probably doing something. I don't know why. I mean, I haven't looked at my chart yet today, so I can't tell you specifically why I'm having issues. What is it? No, it is. Okay, so Pisces. So yeah, I'm sorry. I'm looking at something in your chart that's up in your house of work. It's not there. I was thinking Chiron's up there. It's actually, Chiron is where I said it was. I was just involving another planet I shouldn't have been involving in my interpretation. It's going into your house of creativity and children, but it's going to hover right around the cusp of that house and the home and family house for the whole year. That's what I'm trying to get at. So what it's doing when it gets to Aries is starting to trigger probably some of those feelings when you were saying, well, I'm kind of wishy-washy about moving and have a little bit of fear. It may trigger some of those feelings around taking action around creativity and being in that playful energy. So it's going to be kind of a tentative energy as you get throughout the year with getting into something more playful and fun. But I definitely recommend you do it and start to look at your responses to that, because there's gonna be a lot of playful energy in your chart this year, and there's been for the last couple of years with the Leo and Aries, all the fire signs. Jupiter going into Scorpio, and your first house is going to bring you out of yourself by late this year. It'll be in Sagittarius. So the end of the year, I think, is going to be a little bit more comfortable for you and a little less tentative. So, yeah, if you're looking for a specific time to move, I would say spring. And then by the end of the year, I think you're going to feel a little less emotional and tentative. Okay?
Wow, that'd be a great change, because I've been in hermit mode, and once you've been in there, it's really hard to get yourself back out. So yeah,
I'm in the same place. I've had Neptune in my house of home. Our rising signs are 18 degrees apart. So I've had Jupiter in my 12th until 0 degrees Scorpio, which was just the end of last year. And now it's in my first house as well. And I have been in hermit mode as well. Neptune going in the home and family. You've got till it gets to the end degrees. But once it gets there, you're definitely going to be moving out of that whole deep, broody home thing. And Jupiter is helping as well. It's in your first house the rest of the year, except for just a small time in summer when it goes back in for a brief period of time. Okay? And I'll even tell you when that is, if you give me a second here. It has to get back to 18. It retrogrades retrogrades March 9th. And then it gets back into your 12th house early May at 1859, which is the 5th of May. And then it gets back out of there. Let's see here. I'm just perusing. There it is, September.
Well, you know what's so hard with the wishy-washy is because when I'm wishy-washy, then I beat myself up for being wishy-washy, and then I beat myself up because then it's like, well, why aren't you moving? Why aren't you getting this done? Why are you,
I can tell you, I'm in the same frustrating cycle. Yeah. And I'll tell you, it's Neptune, and it's your natal Neptune in your 12th house, and you're transiting Neptune in your 4th house. So natal Neptune in your 12th, with Jupiter just getting out of there. I mean, Jupiter was all over that at the beginning of the year. So Jupiter was expanding those feelings of sentimentality and deep emotional moodiness and depression at times at the beginning of the year. And literally, it's only 2 degrees into your first house. So you just got it in your first house. I mean, like, within the last few weeks. So let me look here in the chart. So 18 degrees and 59 minutes. So literally the 14th of this month. It's been there for 9 days. So you're just now getting your Jupiter in your first house, and then Neptune's still in your house of home and family for a few years. So that's part of that. And I understand what you mean by feeling like you want to get going with things. You've got a couple planets in Virgo and your sun in Virgo. And so, yeah, you're a doer. You're a worker. That's what Virgo does. They work. They get things done. Neptune is opposite that right now. Neptune's opposite your Pluto in your career house. Pluto's in your career house wanting to work. And Neptune's like, no, I've got to rest. I've got to be here and be chill and hole up in the house and feel my feelings. It's extremely frustrating. I get it, because we have Neptune almost at the same degree. Unfortunately for you, it's in your 12th. For me, it's in my first, joining my moon. So I've actually just had Jupiter on my moon-Neptune conjunction in the first. So I'm feeling a little bit more like, yeah, I think I'm coming out of the fog a little as far as, getting out and about. But I understand it. And I also want to say, for you and everyone else who feels like, I just can't get things done, that's what we're supposed to do now. And it's really difficult. As a Virgo, I'm like, I really want to get stuff done, but you're sitting there going, I don't want to do anything. You wake up in the morning like, I just don't. I don't want to be out in the world. I don't want to be, with everyone else. I can't take all the crowds. I rather just work out of my house. So I get it. I get it. And don't beat yourself up over it, because Neptune is purposely doing that to all of us. It's saying, no, you've got to be a little bit slower. You've got to be aware. Pay attention to the messages coming through in spirit when you're asleep. That's guided information. So don't worry so much about it, okay? I mean, give
Okay.
yourself some slack. That's kind of what I'm trying to say, is that, we live in a very go-getter world, get it done, have goals, go after the goals, but that's not where we're heading. We're heading into the feminine receptive energy, and that doesn't mean we're not going to do things. It just means that we're going to be more connected to other people, where before maybe it was a little bit more about the ego and the goals, and now it's going to be more about the spirit and the connectedness. So you're on the right path, so don't feel bad about it, okay? And I would highly recommend just be in your intuition when you're thinking of moving. You'll know when it's time, because you'll just have that feeling like, I can't take this anymore, I got to go. It'll be there. But you're going to have Mars coming into Pisces this year will give you a really great idea, more of an ideal situation. So let's just see when Mars joins up with Pisces, and I'm going to take some more calls here. Or Neptune, not Pisces, Neptune, excuse me. So it's going to be in November of this year, and kind of things are pointing to November for you in my chart, because that means that in November, Mars is going to be talking to Neptune, and Neptune is the ideal situation. And when that happens, by December, right before Christmas, Mars gets to 9 degrees and joins up with a shift with Jupiter. When Jupiter gets into Sagittarius, Mars will be there squaring it, saying, gotta go. And that's also squaring your moon and your mom. So moon and Sag at 8. So that could be a really significant time at the end of the year for you for a move. All right? And more of an ideal, like you might, I'm not going to say it's not going to be potentially stressful, but it will be more of, I think, the friction that you need to move on, so to speak. Okay? And if you want to move earlier, you can move earlier. I'm not saying you can't. I'm just saying that you've got a lot. I don't know. I think part of it is Moon joining Aquarian energy has got me going, well, you could do this and you could do that. But, you've got different things happening in your chart for different times of the year. So it kind of comes – I would just highly recommend pay attention to your drive. And when your drive says now's the time, go with it. Because if you move when you're not driven to, it's going to be like wading through the deep end. And you can't touch bottom and everything's overwhelming you. So just don't do that. Okay?
Okay. Yeah. Thank you for that.
All right.
That's my biggest worry is, doing it at the wrong time and then regretting it and having it be a big, oh my God, I can't, I wish I had never done this and all that stuff.
Mars in Sagittarius will be better for you because it's a much more driven energy. So if you want to do it during, that month of Mars in Sagittarius, which, again, it's February, that would be okay. But, again, pay attention to your drive, pay attention to your desires, because there's no point in going against that. It's just going to get you where you don't want to be. Okay?
Okay.
All right.
Well, thank you so
for the
much.
call.
I appreciate
You're
it.
welcome. My pleasure. Take care. Good talking to you.
You too. Thanks so much.
Okay, thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right. Let's see who we have here. 561. Hi, 561. How are you?
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. Who am I talking to?
This is James.
I'm sorry. Say that again, James?
James, yes.
Yeah, I would have gotten you if I was looking at your whole number there. Sorry about that.
No worries.
I was just wrapping up with Julia. What can I do for you today?
I have a question for you. Okay, so I don't know what it is. I think maybe it's a karmic issue or a karmic thing. I just can't seem to find time for me. It's almost like, everything is overworking. Everything is it's almost like when I sit down, there is something to do, or someone in a crisis, or someone in a situation,
right.
Someone who needs something, and it's draining. It's been like this since I can remember.
A while.
It's draining. Oh yeah.
That long.
And
oh my goodness.
Really long, and it's really hard when I'm trying to set goals and trying to do things and really hone in on what I want to do and what I want to accomplish. Because at the end of the day, I am literally exhausted.
Okay.
I could just
I totally get you.
Okay. So how do I fix this?
It's been that way. I'm just looking it up here. I'll tell you what it is that's affecting you. It's been that way since probably 2010, at least. What it is two things, or actually multiple things, but two signs. One is Pisces and one is Aries. You're an Aries sun. You have Aries sun at 9 degrees. Aries sun at 9 degrees. And then you have Mercury at 16 joined with Venus at 16. And you've had Uranus going over your sun, Mercury, and Venus for that whole time. You've had that transit. So what that does is Uranus makes energy come from all over, from every angle. It started out on your sun at the late degree of the Capricorn house, which is the 10th house of work and career and life purpose. So when it hit around, I have already lost what year I said. Did I say 2009? Around that time. Yeah, 2009, 2010. Around that time, it hit your sun, and really, I'm guessing your career just took off, and so much energy started coming in at that time, because that's when you got much clearer about where you wanted to go. You got more driven, and it also was right on the cusp of your house of people from career, life purpose, your soul group, and it brought you more into the awareness of other people, which started attracting them to you like a magnet. And part of the energy there is you were kind of detached in your chart. It shows, I would read it as if there were no other planets affecting it, just the individual chart itself. I would say you're kind of detached from people in some sense, and you were maybe a little bit more self-interested and driven in your career, and it was more you. But then Uranus came in and kind of opened up your life, and now all of a sudden there's a lot of action and ideas combined, creating this amazing vortex of energy in your chart. You're in a fire sign. That's what your chart is. Sun, Mercury, Venus, and Aries is all fire. So you also have natal Uranus at 17 Sagittarius. And so you have your natal Uranus in a fire sign as well in the house of work. So busy, 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 go, go, go. I mean, you must be frantic, all that frenetic energy. Yeah. So
I just need a break.
I know. And then what's kind of draining you, like you have that energy, and it's the go energy, and then you have the drain, which is Neptune on your midheaven. And he's been there, I would say, probably at least 2 years, maybe 3 years, in your career, saying, I'm exhausted, I can't do this, I've got to change, and you're not listening to the spiritual energy of that. Like the spirit wants you to slow down and start to absorb more because of that Neptune connection. You also have South Node in Scorpio in the house of work and Saturn in Scorpio in the house of work. So even though you have Uranus and Sag there, which is the end part of it, the cusp going into marriage and partnership, you have Saturn, which is restriction, and South Node, which is the past. So part of your life purpose was you came in to this life to finish off a story around helping other people and always being the one who's, and I don't know if you know this about yourself, but you're really aware of other people's emotions. And so you're the empath extraordinaire.
I'm so freaking empath.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Yeah.
And Jupiter is right there. Yeah, Jupiter's on your South Node. So what it's doing is it's saying, well, it's kind of literally between your South Node and your Saturn, is two things. It's saying that you've got to, you're going to feel more things, but it's also wanting you to own that you can't go on like that. Okay? Mars is 1 degree off your Saturn. So part of the life purpose you came in for was to bring in some of the energy from the past into your work. So the knowingness, the intuitiveness, the wanting to help other people and wanting justice and understanding people. And then Jupiter is saying, okay, I have like I said in the last few shows, Jupiter shows us where we need to be more concerned for ourselves. And that's right on your Saturn in Scorpio, on your South Node. So you have to own the past now and where you were so connected to other people and be more self-interested. Mars was already joined with Jupiter this year. And now he's going to go into Sagittarius, and that's going to be the freedom you're seeking. Right now, you've got a woman, and this is an interesting energy here in your chart because the house of work is also the house of healing. And you've got Vesta, which those who listen to the show regularly know Vesta is kind of a shrewish woman, someone who is difficult in your environment, okay? Part of the reason for that is to stir up more of a practical, archival sense. I don't know how to explain this. I'm not translating this properly. For you, she's there to teach. That's the best way to tell you. She's there to teach you something. And so normally I would say she's someone who gets in your way, but in this case, she's in your work environment, but she's trying to give you something that is ultimately going to help you stand up for yourself. And she also may be a friction point for you in the next couple weeks. As Mars goes into Sagittarius on Friday, it's going to go right on top of Vesta. So you're probably going to have friction with that person. Now, do you have a work environment? I should ask you.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I have a work environment. I'm the only male in my office. I work for government, and the politician I work for is a Cancer man. I go home to a woman, my mother, who's like that, and I have a partner, a woman who's like that. So
okay. So you got it in spades. And you're going to have that Mars going into Sagittarius is pretty much right now with Mars on your Saturn and Scorpio, you're feeling so emotionally frazzled and raw. And then Mars is going to go into Sagittarius and you're going to start to speak your truth. And you're probably going to have friction with them. But what's going to happen over the next month, and I've got chills when I'm telling you this, is you're going to have this friction because of whatever it is that you feel you're responsible for with these people. And you're going to say, I can't do this anymore. And they're going to be like, and then you're going to go off and have Mars join up with Uranus. And then when that happens, you're going to call your own shots and say, no, I'm done. I'm going off. And you might even move. There's a possible job opportunity that will come in unexpected and far away. Uranus and Sagittarius. So big opportunity to move far away. And independently, like doing something, maybe a contract job or a teaching job or something that's going to get you out of there, so to speak, quote unquote, get you out of there. And it's going to put you on a new, clearer-minded path. Now, keeping in mind that this year we also have Uranus move into Taurus, that's also a new path for you. As Uranus moves into Taurus, it's now in the same sign as your natal Mars, and that's in the house of autonomy and independence, which is the 11th house, Aquarius. So you're moving into an alignment. If you do end up moving for your job or having an opportunity to do your own work, you're aligning yourself with a new energy coming in. And because Uranus is that same energy, but it's going into the sign of money and Mars, I think you're going to have a lot more money coming in from this job that you have an opportunity for.
Thank God.
And yeah, and let me just see real quick here when Uranus and Mars join up in your chart. I'm sorry, it's going to take me a second to just kind of eyeball it. 17 degrees. Yeah, it's going to be late February. It's the 25th. They will be. Okay. The 25th Mars will be on Uranus for you. So look forward to the end of February having some business opportunities for yourself. Okay?
Oh, thank goodness. And is my purpose to teach spiritually, or is it to teach something?
Your purpose definitely is around, that's the house of teachers. The sixth house is Virgo. It's naturally ruled by Virgo, so it is teachers. And it is also about, I'm trying to figure out how to say it. It is the workplace, and it's also health. I would say part of your purpose, if you haven't done it already, would be a therapist. That's what I would say you would be good at, therapy. Or something political, or something in law, justice. It's about helping people find justice, but it can also be health, service. And I love Saturn in Scorpio for either lawyers, which, I hope you're not a lawyer, and I apologize to lawyers who call me.
No,
I'm not a big fan of the profession.
But
but it is the law. Law would be part of it, or justice. And then because it's Scorpio, therapists are really, they're covered under that as well. And I put Libra energy with Scorpio energy very strongly because Librans are always trying to help other people, and Scorpio wants to understand other people. And therapy is a really good combination of those two energies. And you have Pluto and Scorpio in the fifth house, which is really wanting to connect to others on a deep level. And you have Saturn in the house of work and service, which is your life purpose, and it's right there near your south node. So you have like just a natural ability to really be a therapist for other people. So
okay.
If you have, I mean, it could be many different things. It doesn't have to be like a psychologist. It could be art therapy or, speech therapy or, occupational therapy. It could be any number of types of therapies, just whatever you're personally interested in. And the other thing, I always forget about this when it comes to like Saturn, but Saturn in Scorpio is taking care of other people's money as well. And you have Mars in Taurus, which makes you really good with money. Is that part of your career now?
I run a politician's office. He's a
you've
commissioner.
told me that a couple times. Yeah.
And
Politics.
I want to get out.
Scorpio.
I want to do something independent. Yeah. And I want to get the hell out of here. And I was thinking about going into renter's insurance, becoming an insurance agent, selling insurance.
Okay.
And just,
I can see
generate
that.
some income, not, something permanent. Okay.
Yeah, because Sagittarius actually rules real estate, like being a realtor, that kind of thing. And you have Uranus there, so being your own boss. And honestly, if you wanted to, Uranus could trigger something in real estate. And Mars in Taurus is also about investments and properties and things like that. So, yeah, I could totally see that. If that's where you're being led, yeah, I could see that in your chart.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, Mars in Taurus, so you're definitely going to get triggered when Uranus goes in there to be your own boss. So whatever it is you do and whatever you decide, it's just kind of, honestly, I say it a lot to many callers, but we are on the cusp of small business being king.
Amen.
And I don't know if people realize this yet, but you're going to, everybody is going to follow that's what the Uranus energy is, and it's going into Taurus. And as Pluto gets closer to Aquarius, that's what it is. It's the next decade, and it's about doing our own individual path and doing it for business. So there are so many entrepreneurs up and coming, and that's what we're being called to do. So when people are there, right now is probably a more difficult time with the Capricorn energy because that's all about the old school way. That's about the structure and the corporate and the hierarchy. So you have Neptune and Capricorn there, but it's in the house of marriage and partnership. You say you're dating someone? You're not married?
Yeah. No, not married.
Well, that's going to change. I can tell you right now, Saturn on your Neptune in the house of marriage and partnership, what are you waiting for? Go get that girl. If she's the one you want, if she's not the one you want, then the one you want's right there around the corner. But if she is the one you want, it's time. Neptune with Saturn saying, own it. So that's all I'm saying about that. Yep. She didn't call me to put me up to it either.
She probably did, knowing.
Nuh-uh. Boy, what are you waiting for? Get off your butt. Go get that girl. Take her. Anyway.
That is so funny.
Seriously, your dreams are coming true with partners, and it's time. So everything's changing.
Oh, wow.
And yeah.
Thank God.
Yeah, it is changing. Yeah.
God.
No, follow your heart. It's there. The end of the year, Jupiter goes into Sagittarius, and it's like, I cannot take another minute. You're feeling it now anyway with the Jupiter on Saturn. So it's happening for you. Don't worry. Okay?
Oh, thank God. Thank you so much, Shelley. Thank you so much.
Take a breath. Take a breath. I know Jupiter and Scorpio, we got all this intensity, but it is about, and don't forget, Jupiter and Scorpio is about owning yourself again. And not being always the one everyone comes to. Start giving over some of the responsibility to others, which is why Saturn's in Capricorn. It's learning to dictate to others what to do and owning your own mastership of yourself and not not feeling like, well, if I don't do it, nobody will do it. No, start telling them to do it. You know, be the boss or whatever. You know, be the one in charge. So that's what it's about. Okay.
Oh my God, that makes so much sense. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Okay, good talking to you again. Take care.
Right. Bye.
Okay. Bye-bye. Okay, I'm going to take one last call because she's waited for 26 minutes. Hi, 404. How are you?
Hey, it's Olita. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. What can I do for you today, real quick?
Finances.
Okay, finances. Let's just get your chart on up here. I think get that going. Finances. You're looking for when it's coming in. Okay, just double checking. You're December 30th, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. So yeah, well, I definitely think that there's going to be some opportunities for a creative or artistic endeavor in May, because you have a Taurus rising and Uranus into Taurus is in the 12th house, which rules amazing amounts of creativity in the arts. So if you're looking for something there, and Taurus, of course, is money. So I would say you have the option, if you're interested or do any kind of creative endeavor, you know, music or dance or painting, you're going to be very creative, like inventive, and there's an opportunity then. You also have coming up into February, money coming from other sources, from other people, and far away. It might be like a sister or...
that makes sense because we're still waiting on Dad's stuff to come in.
Yeah, that's going to come when Mars gets into your 8th house of, is this like a inheritance?
Yeah, everything's in a trust right now. So
okay, yeah, that Mars into the Mars in the 8th house is going to trigger that for you. So that's February. Let me see, the 11 degrees. Yeah, Valentine's Day. Aim for Valentine's Day, just after Valentine's Day. Okay.
Okay. Cool.
And then Saturn, Saturn moves in, moves out of the 8th into the 9th, and that's always a trigger for the inheritance coming in for me. And it's in Capricorn, which is also a father figure. So the combination in February of Mars into the house of inheritance on your Venus, which is also money, and sisters, and then Saturn moving out of there, culminating that story and moving on, definitely February. Between the 1st and the 14th, or any time in February, but the 1st is when Saturn gets out of your house of inheritance, and the 14th is when Mars taking action goes in. So the combination of those two Februaries when you're going to get it.
Okay.
So, alrighty?
Sounds good. I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Take care. Good talking to you.
You too.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks. Okay, come back next week, and if you want to check out some of my artwork, you can go to shelleyoverton.com. And also, I've got a lot of cool things for sale at dottedsky.store. So anyway, that's all for the week. We'll see you next week, and we got lots to talk about then, but I'll see you then. Bye. Thanks for stopping by AstroEnergy this week. If you would like to get a hold of Shelley Overton, you can get her at astrologerangel.com, on Facebook at AstroEnergy or Astrologer Angel. The music was provided by Kevin MacLeod at incompetech.com, with additional music by Ironwood Rain. Check them out on the net at ironwoodrain.com. To subscribe, please click the picture of Shelley on the right or the red button below.